Picture the modern long-haul trucker. They are the circulatory system of the global economy, moving thousands of tons of cargo across the continent with absolute freedom. During the day, there is a clear autonomy to the job. You have your music, an open lane ahead of you, and a massive machine at your command. But the environment shifts the moment the sun drops below the horizon. Without daylight to illuminate the passing landscape, the world outside the windshield effectively vanishes. The visible universe shrinks down to the short stretch of asphalt caught in the headlights. The cabin stops feeling like an open command center. Instead, it becomes a sealed metal box, entirely cut off from the rest of society. This brings us to a collection of first-hand driver narratives known as the haunted highway. What makes these reports unsettling is that they do not deal in ghost stories or urban legends. They document real, physical dangers encountered on completely desolate stretches of road. Navigating 80,000 pounds of machinery in the dead of night requires intense concentration. Doing it entirely alone creates an extreme form of vulnerability. When you are that isolated, the boundary between the tricks of an exhausted mind and an actual deadly threat begins to erode. Pushing through an overnight shift forces the human body to fight its own circadian rhythms. Sleep deprivation actively degrades cognitive function. This chart shows how a driver's pattern recognition accuracy degrades over a 10-hour shift. Staring at dashed white lines for hours causes sensory processing to misfire. By 3 a.m., that accuracy drops into dangerous territory. Deprived of normal stimuli, the brain starts inventing its own visual data to fill the void. Shadows look like people, and road signs appear to move. This constant state of misinterpretation creates a baseline of paranoia. Drivers quickly learned that they cannot entirely trust what their own eyes are showing them. Long before a driver encounters a hazard on the asphalt, they are already locked in a battle with their own exhaustion. The true danger comes when the anomalies outside the windshield are real. One driver reported braking on a desolate stretch of desert road, only to watch a lone man quietly dragging heavily loaded bags out into the brush, miles from any town or intersecting highway. And while the cab feels like a sanctuary, the machine itself is full of vulnerabilities. The undercarriage and the rear of the trailer offer vast, unmonitored blind spots. The haunted highway logs include chilling accounts of drivers discovering stowaways who used those blind spots to climb aboard, slipping into the cabin while the vehicle was parked at a dark rest stop. These encounters confirm the driver's worst fears. They are operating in environments actively exploited by opportunistic predators. The most alarming reports involve situations where the driver is a specific, targeted mark. In one detailed incident, a driver noticed a brightly colored jacket abandoned on the gravel shoulder near a dense tree line. As he slowed his truck to investigate, he heard the faint sound of a person crying for help, but the audio was repetitive and slightly distorted, a recording being played on a loop from the darkness. The setup was designed to weaponize basic human empathy. It was a calculated lure to coax an isolated driver out of a locked cab and into the woods. This is the active, premeditated hunting of a vulnerable worker in the middle of nowhere. When dawn finally breaks, the immediate psychological terror of the dark dissipates, but the harsh realities of the job remain. These highway encounters are symptoms of a much larger occupational hazard. This map tracks average police response times. While cities have dense clusters of immediate emergency support, these remote transport corridors exist in massive dead zones. If a driver runs into trouble here, help is literally hours away. The isolation of the geography, combined with an absolute lack of infrastructure, leaves these essential workers unprotected. A fully loaded transport truck looks imposing. It is a massive piece of industrial equipment that dominates the lane. But look closer at the driver's side window. The human element operating that machine is incredibly small and entirely alone. Long-haul drivers are navigating thousands of miles of desolate landscape with zero physical backup. The next time you pass a lone transport on a dark stretch of highway, remember what is happening inside the cab. That driver is running a gauntlet of extreme physical exhaustion and psychological strain, just trying to make it to the morning light.